Genshin Impact is one of the biggest open-world action-adventure RPGs that has had a large amount of people consistently playing it over the past few years since its release. I've always kind of glanced at it and thought, that looks like a cool game, but why is it so dang popular?
Oh my god, I get it.
So when Genshin Impact offered to sponsor this video and pay me money to play it and check out the new 5.0 update that just recently released, where we venture to a new region called Natlan, I was like, heck yeah, let's check it out. So yeah, this video is sponsored by Genshin Impact, but I only take sponsorships like this if it's a game I would personally play. And after playing it, I have been pretty addicted to it. I get why it's so popular. This is not just one of the best free-to-play games that should be a model to how these types of games should be done, but it legitimately has one of the best open worlds that I've played in the last few years. And it's not just the characters that make this game so popular, even though I think that's a huge selling point. It's largely thanks to how accessible it is. You can play this game on PC, PS5 and PS4, and even mobile devices like iPhone and Android. It runs on every single device you can think of except for Xbox. Until now, since Genshin Impact will be releasing for Xbox on November 20th for Xbox Series S and X. And it's honestly impressive how this massive open world game can even run on virtually any device you can think of with really zero issues at all. Not to mention the graphics being absolutely beautiful. Like, of course it's gonna look good on my PC, but typically when I play a game on PC and then play it on my PS5, there is a giant graphical downgrade that I notice immediately. But this is one of the most beautiful looking PS5 games I've played. It also allows cross-save where I can play on my PS5, jump on over to my PC or iPhone if I wanted to, and just continue playing where I left off. If you want to download it for yourself, you can click the link down in the description or the pinned comment. But enough of that mumbo jumbo, what about the actual game? Well, when I loaded up, I realized I had already played this game before because my character was level 7 and I was a couple adventure levels in already, and I have no idea when I played, but I guess I did. At least for like a few minutes to just level up a couple times. If you don't know anything about those levels, basically you have your adventure level, like you can see what mine was here. I'm a little higher now, but that's basically your overall level. Things like main story quests become locked until you hit a certain adventure level, and you can level that up in like numerous different ways. You level it up by completing quests, side quests, and all of that, or through exploring. Like for example, finding fast travel points give you adventure XP. And that's a pretty decent way to level up at first when you first start the game, is just finding fast travel points. Then you have levels on things like your characters, weapons, and artifacts that all use specific items in order to level them up. Characters go to level 20 and then start requiring items specific to that type of character that you'll need to find across the world in order to level them up even higher. And you'll really want to do that as you progress, otherwise taking on enemies in faraway regions can be a little more difficult. After you get past the prologue of the game, specifically Act 3 of the prologue or the Liu Archon quest, which does take at least a few hours, like I think I took at least 12 hours on the prologue alone. But it's not like your typical prologue in most games. It's called a prologue, but it's really a major part of the story. After doing that though, you can head on over to the new Natlan region that this 5.0 update added by going over to Maritime Harbor in Fontaine to the east of the desert for the Natlan Archon quest, or fast travel over to the point over in Natlan that should appear once you zoom into the entrance area. I was trying to find this forever at first, and then I just realized I have to zoom in. Before even getting to Natlan though, you can go into your events menu and select a free 5-star character. If you haven't played before, 5-star characters are like the cream of the crop in Genshin, and that's why it's the perfect time to hop in and start playing or get back in and return to playing, so you can at the very least get yourself a free 5-star character. You literally don't have to do anything to get it other than open up the menu and pick one. I chose Mona because of her build. The other reason I think this game is so popular is because it's not just accessible in the amount of devices you can play it on, but there isn't a huge skill gap. It's not absurdly difficult or challenging unless you head straight for a zone far beyond your level and start picking fights with all of the enemies 40 levels above you. And even then, they have world levels where you can sort of adjust the world to be less difficult with the downside of getting less rewards. So even in more difficult areas that are far above your level, you can still go there and explore. And that's the #1 thing Genshin Impact has going for it, in my opinion, is the exploration. Every time I thought I had seen everything there was to see, I got to a new region with a new biome that feels like an entire new world. I started in this grassland area of Mondstadt that contains all of these like hilly churl enemies, but if you start traveling west, suddenly you're engulfed in mountains where you can glide over to these like sky islands to find a puzzle where you just have to randomly find some bird statues gleaming off in the distance and turn them in a certain direction facing the middle to unlock a whole like secret island. And to get there in the first place, I had to like climb a mountain and then glide over from island to island.
Let me up. Let me up. What in the world? Ah!
I can do it. I can do this. Uh oh. Okay, what is happening? Holy cow, dude, we got 3 chests. Oh my god. Gimme, 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 gimme.
Some puzzles across the world take a little more time and thought like that one did, but then you have some you'll find that are way more simple, like having to find and light some torches on fire in order to open up a chest. Chests are all over the place in this game and give you pretty much any item you might need, like weapons and artifacts or adventure XP, which I mentioned a minute ago. And each character has different elements. That's a gigantic part of the game, especially in the combat. But you'll have puzzles you come across all over the map that require some type of certain element in order to complete it, or like these flowers that need to be cooled down before you can pick them. I was stuck on these for so long and gave up, and then later on I realized maybe I just have to spray them with water or something, and it actually worked. There are so many small details like that, like for example, you can use a freeze character's ability to freeze the water and allow you to walk on it. This started with me just accidentally shooting water during a fight, and then I noticed the water freeze over, and then later on I realized you can actually not only walk on it, but you can use this freeze ability to cross bodies of water this way and use it as like an actual method of travel. They're also constantly adding new content, like over in Natlan, you can transform into these dinosaur dragon-like transformations now that give you more ways to explore, like the Tepetlosaurus can burrow itself underground to travel or quickly climb walls, the Yumkasaurus uses its tongue to grapple around and swallow objects that you can spit at enemies to do a ton of damage. And then the Koholosaurus, I'm probably butchering the heck out of all these names, who is able to swim and fly around in these spirit ways. So other than Mualina, that new character that can ride her shark around who's in the new event banner, you now have this guy, which is a huge upgrade, since I think that's the biggest thing I dislike when starting out, is that until you unlocked specific characters, traversing through the water used to be a struggle. Now you have all of these different ways to do that. The exploration in general just keeps getting bigger and bigger in this game with every update. They keep adding region after region to keep expanding the map, with each of these regions being totally different from each other and giving you more to do. Like in Natlan, I was exploring this new area and realized I could travel underground here and drop down into a hidden cave system where I just randomly found a boss waiting for me.
You've been a naughty boy. Looks like I got carried away.
But the combat I was using for pretty much any fight was Hydro and Electro, so that you can splash the enemy with water and then electrocute them, and that works incredibly well. But mixing elements with Hydro in general are good, like using Hydro, which is the water element by the way, and Cryo to freeze them afterwards is also really good. The elemental reactions are actually crazy deep, like I was trying to figure out what other elemental reactions there were other than the obvious ones, and this picture popped up. Like what the heck, dude? You also have characters that get in close with a melee weapon, use a bow and arrow, or magic to attack, and each element has various characters for each of those. Like Kachina here gets on top of her drill that she can ride around and use the crystallize element to do damage, or get in close and use her spear. Or Mualina, who can ride a shark around that you can use not just to get around and make traveling across water easier, but also do splash damage. Or she also uses her water balloons. I got super lucky getting Mualina since she's one of the new characters on the latest event banner, and she doesn't do the most damage ever, but she is probably the most fun to use. I'll probably be using her a lot more once the game comes out on Xbox so that I have an excuse to play even more, since again, Genshin Impact releases on Xbox on November 20th. If you don't have an Xbox and haven't played Genshin before or haven't played in a while and you are taking a break, now is probably the best possible time to hop on so you can grab that free 5-star character and explore the new region of Natlan and complete all of the different challenges and ways that you have to earn Primogems, since there are so many ways to get them. Logging in right now gets you 1600 Primogems plus 10 Intertwined Fate for logging in for 7 days, plus a few hundred more bonus Primogems for completing quests, and all of the different ways that they have to earn Primogems in general that were part of the game already before the update. To me, this feels like the dream anime game that anime games refuse to give us for some reason. Every anime game that releases is like, oh, here you go, here's the same thing that we sold you last year and the year before that, for $70. And Genshin is over here free to play with a massive open world, a ton of characters, and an endless amount of quests in exploration. Yeah, you can pay to have a better chance at unlocking a new 5-star character, but the game is completely viable to enjoy without spending any money. You don't need to spend anything to beat or have fun in this game, especially since there are a crap ton of ways to earn Primogems for free, which you can transfer over to roll for characters. But that's it. Thank you to Genshin Impact for sponsoring this video. You can check out the link down below if you want to download it for yourself, and don't forget that Genshin Impact releases on Xbox on November 20th. See ya.